going on, guys? Welcome to my 1 week full review of the FlyFit ankle fitness tracker. Now that's not the official title, but that's what I like to describe it to other people as. But today's review is not going to go over any of the technical specifications of the device. If you guys want to learn about all the inner workings and how it actually works, just go ahead and visit their website, which I will link in the description box below. But my review today is just going to go over what it's like to own this device. I have worn it for about a week and a half straight, non-stop, and I can feel like I can give you guys a proper review on owning this device. Now I'm going to start off this review by answering one of the most frequently asked questions I've been getting, and it's that how well does the actual fitness tracker portion stay in the actual ankle bracelet? Because people are worried that it goes in pretty easily, but does it actually stay in there? And instead of explaining my experience, I'm just going to show you guys. So as far as running, kicking, doing jumps, doing CrossFit, whatever your cup of tea is, it will stay in there, even if you're a break dancer, as you guys just saw. But as far as swimming, unfortunately, I couldn't bring in a camera to the YMCA that I went to test out the swimming portion. At the same time, I forgot to set it off of sleep because I went in early in the morning and the device was still in sleep mode, so it didn't pick up me going through a swim session. And you guys are going to see that in the images I'm going to show you about the app portion of what it recorded. But you can take my word for it, it stayed on my ankle really well when I swam those couple laps in the pool. So aside from the actual tracker staying in the band snugly, how comfortable is it to wear? And I gotta admit, guys, I left it on for a solid week and a half. Even when I slept, went to the shower, went swimming, whenever, I left it on. I would take it off here and there when I had to change clothes or put my new socks on, but even with it on, I could still do all that. I just took it off here and there when I just got a little bit bothersome with it. But I gotta admit, guys, 90% of the time, I forgot that it was there. I only sometimes remember that I was wearing it because someone would point it out, calling it, hey, am I under house arrest or something? Or I would accidentally bump it against like a table leg. Or even when I was sleeping, because when you sleep, I sleep on the side. So when I had it on my ankle and I rolled over, I would feel it pressing against my ankle. But even that barely bothered me. Well, let me put it this way, guys. I've worn smartwatches and fitness trackers before on my wrist and on my shoulder. And the thing is, I would always feel like it was there because, you feel it on your wrist and your arm is a lot more sensitive than your leg is, in my opinion. But there were times where I completely forgot that I was wearing this, to the point where I forgot to sync the device with my phone for days on end. And thank God that it actually keeps track of all your data, because I went 3 days without syncing it up. So all the data that's been collecting, it's stored for 3 days straight. And when I finally synced it, I was like, oh crap, I forgot to do it. And I did it, and all my data was still there. But speaking of the data, how accurate was it? Now the thing is, I don't have access to professional trackers or like science equipment for me to go ahead and record what my proper steps and my calories and cycles were, but I can kind of gauge it based off of what my previous pedometers, especially on my Gear S, was reporting. And I gotta admit, guys, this thing is really smart because you'll see it on my app images, but it literally tracks whether you walked, you slept, you swam, you cycled, or you ran. It actually tracks all of that. But one side note that you gym goers should keep in mind is that for those of you who run on the elliptical, the device will actually treat the elliptical runner as a cycling device because you're moving in a circular motion. And for me, at first I was like, what the heck? But at the same time, I was like, wait a second. This thing actually realizes that it's going in a circular motion and not an up and down harsh motion like you're running. So for me, I don't know exactly how the tracker works itself, but it can distinguish between swimming, running, and cycling. So that is pretty awesome. Now as far Now, as far as the real-time tracker is concerned, I didn't find myself using it too often, but the times that I did, I found it very useful. So I think for a lot of you who are looking for a function like that, I think this is a nice solution for you guys. Now, as far as battery life is concerned, compared to other devices, this thing can actually last a pretty long time. So as I mentioned before, that I forgot to sync this up for 3 days, and it still retained a 35% charge after 3 days of use. And I found that quite impressive. Apparently you can go more with it, but just depend on what mode it's on. And I found myself charging before I went to bed. So I would leave the actual bracelet on my ankle, take the little bit out, put it on the charge adapter, and go to bed. And in the morning, just take it off and slide it right back in. But another point that I wanted to bring up about the band is that other than getting different colors, you can also get a proprietary ankle brace for your ankles. And for people like me, I actually had reconstructive surgery on my ankle, and if anything, I'm required to wear an ankle brace when I run and do heavy activities, which I ended up doing most of the time, but I was able to put this, above my ankle. But they actually build one where you can just go ahead and slide this into an ankle brace that they've made. Now, as far as the app is concerned, guys, when the company first reached out to me to review their device, they requested that I review it on an iPhone because they originally developed the first app for the iOS devices and worked out all the kinks for it. And the thing is, I don't have an iOS device, so I had to do it on an Android. So I had to use their Android app first. But the thing is, when I first got the app, all the reviews were kind of bad because they had a lot of bug issues with it. But I gotta admit, when I was using it, I ran into maybe a handful of bugs, but nothing too serious. So which kind of shows me that they've been working on improving the Android experience as well. So hopefully by the time you guys see this video or considering purchasing this device, they will have already worked out the kinks on the Android devices. And my final thoughts on the device, guys, it's actually really well built. I've hit my ankle several times against like posts, walls, and my tables at my store. And it's held up pretty well. The device is still working fine. It's not cracked. So I'm actually really impressed with how well it's fitting in there. And once again, guys, I'm a break dancer. Like I used to be at least. And I did a couple of my 6-step routines and it held up well. It didn't go flying off or anything. The device didn't come loose. It still fit in there pretty snugly. So I was really impressed with this. Now, everyone that has seen it, that I've talked to about, they're like, what the hell is that? Like, are you on house arrest? And I'll explain to them what this device is, that it's a fitness tracker that pretty much can distinguish between walking, running, and cycling and swimming. And they're like, well, that just makes sense because all those things are foot related, not arm related. And so having the tracker track your foot movements, not your wrist movements, just makes sense. So everyone else was on board. So other than that, guys, it's pretty much up to you whether you want to give this device a try or not, or even just take a look at it on their website. So once again, guys, I am not being sponsored by FlyFit whatsoever. Even the links in the description box below don't have any special codes in them whatsoever. I am doing this purely as a volunteer basis because I thought that this piece of tech was really cool, and when they reached out to me, I was more than happy to review it because it was something different. And I made sure that I was able to have absolute creative freedom to give them either a positive or negative review, and they agreed to that. And I gotta happily admit that everything this past week with the device has been positive. Like, I was really impressed with how this device worked, and I'm gonna be looking forward to just continuing to use it in the future. So with that said, guys, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback about the device or for me in general, please go ahead and leave it in the comment section down below, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And if you like this video and you would like to see me do more reviews of devices outside the mainstream media and the companies, please go ahead and leave a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos in the future. Thanks for watching my review, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Take care. On your ankle, hence why the large size. Now, I won't go over all the technical specs of this device, but I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to the Kickstarter page, which pretty much outlines everything about the device that you need to know. Now, if you've been looking for a more accurate tracker of your fitness activities, this may be the device for you. Because if you think about it, if you want to calculate how many steps you've taken, what distance you've ran, how fast you've done it, your cycling, even your swimming, why would you want to track all those movements that involve heavily your legs on your wrist or on your arm?